Welcome, you're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Priyanshi Sharma. Our focus remains on that outage in flights in the United States. Flights across the United States have been grounded after a massive system failure. All flights across the United States have been grounded due to a technical glitch with the computer system in an unprecedented disruption. That's what multiple news reports are now suggesting. And a computer failure at the Federal Aviation Administration has the potential to impact flights nationwide, including a possible nationwide grounding as well. The affected system is responsible for sending out flight hazards and real-time restrictions to pilots, known as NOTAM, or Notice to Air Missions. So that's the very system that has been affected, because of which these flights have been grounded. The system is responsible for sending out flight hazards and real-time restrictions to pilots. Now, the FAA has also issued a statement. The Federal Aviation Administration has said that the FAA is experiencing an outage that is impacting the update of this Notice to Air Missions, this very system, and flights are unable to be released at this time. That's what the FAA has said in a statement. American Airlines told ABC News that it has only meant delays for their flights for the moment. The FAA has said that they will be issuing an update on the problem shortly. Now, the FAA is working to restore its Notice to Air Missions system, and they said that we are performing the final validation checks and repopulating the system now. They said that operations across the national airspace system are affected. We will provide frequent updates as we make progress. That's what the Federal Aviation Administration has said. Now, the advisory says that the United States NOTAM system has failed, and since then, no new amendments have been processed. Technicians are currently working to restore the system, and there's no estimate for restoration of service at this time. There is currently a hotline in effect, which is the FAA facilities and stakeholders in attendance. This hotline information is contained within the advisory, and this advisory will be updated as necessary. Now, multiple reports are suggesting that flights across the United States are now grounded because of this. In fact, news reports also suggest that close to 400 flights were delayed within or into or out of the United States as of Wednesday, 5:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's the latest update that we're getting, that flights across the United States have been grounded and have been impacted after this massive system failure. It's a technical glitch that's being reported for now. And the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, is saying that they are performing the final checks and they are repopulating the system. But of course, they're not giving a timeline just yet of when the systems could be back in place or when the flights could be back on track. So that's still not clear. The operations are across the national airspace that have been affected. Now, to get you a sense of what really is causing all of this, there's been a system that is impacted. Now, that system is responsible for sending out flight hazards and real-time restrictions to the pilot. So that is the very system, that crucial system that has been impacted, because of which these flights have been grounded. Now, multiple reports now also suggest that the FAA system that alerts pilots and other flight personnel about hazards or any changes to airport facility and relevant procedures was not processing the updated information. That's what, as you can see, the FAA's advisory also states clearly. Now, my colleague Tanushri Pandey is now joining us from the newsroom. Tanushri, several flights have been impacted, close to 400 flights that have been grounded in the United States in just a few minutes. What's this system that has been impacted? What do we know till now?
Well, Priyanshi, the very latest we are picking up is that a hotline has now been activated for any kind of help that the passengers might need, because understand, it's an absolutely unprecedented situation where a computer outage, a technical glitch with the FFA system has now caused such a situation where all the flights, and as you rightly said, more than 400 flights have been completely grounded in the United States. Now, what we know so far is that we have a statement from the FFA which says the FFA is working to restore its Notice to Air Mission system. We are performing the final validation checks and repopulating the system now. In fact, the operation across the national airspace system, as we have been reporting, are affected. And obviously, as expected, the entire air traffic, Priyanshi, which is is very important, has been badly hit due to this computer outage. The experts, we have been told, are working to find the exact cause of it, that what exactly has caused this kind of a technical glitch in the system. And it's absolutely unprecedented. It hasn't been seen, in the recent history, that such a computer outage in the FFA system has caused a situation where all the flights, more than 400 flights, have to be grounded in the United States. Even the flights which were on the way, even the flights which were flying, has now become a major concern because the FFA is saying that we are ready for any kind of, any kind of a situation where we, if we do not know, or if we are unable to connect or establish a contact with the pilot, with the, of the flights which are already flying, we are ready for that kind of a situation as well. So we can imagine that it is actually, we should not, let's not panic, but it is actually a situation of worry for the United States, because there are many flights. The United States air traffic is quite a busy, that's quite a busy route, and the situation is right now scary, as the computer outage has caused all the flights to be grounded. And what we know so far is that the FFA is giving frequent updates, but a hotline has been now activated for all the passengers and their, if they have any kind of redressal to make. This is what we know so far. Priyanshi, back to you.
Tanushree, and even the FAA has put out a tweet now saying that the Federation, the FAA is working to restore its notice to air mission system. We are performing the final validation checks and reloading the system now. That's what the Federation of Aviation Administration is saying. Now, they're saying that operations across the national airspace system are currently impacted, and we will provide frequent updates as we make progress. So, Tanushree, the FAA has been putting out these updates, but they're reiterating that they don't have a timeline just yet of when these systems could be put back in place. These are the very systems that are crucial for sending out flight hazards and communicating with the pilots.
Absolutely. They are trying to establish their contact with the pilots, and especially those flights are very important, which are right now on the route. And that's why the FFA is now saying that the FFA system that alerts the pilots and other flight personnel about hazards or any changes to airport facility service and relevant procedure was not processing updating information, the regulator's website showed on Wednesday. So this is a kind of a absolutely unprecedented computer outage and a technical glitch, Priyanshi, that which has now made the entire server down, and even the flights which were flying, even the flights which were on the way on the route have now become a major concern for the FFA, because they have to they have to establish their connection, they have to establish their contact with the pilots, and that has also become a matter of concern for the FFA. So let's see how they actually tackle with this kind of an unprecedented situation. But what we know so far is a hotline has been activated for all the passengers, all the pilots who are basically witnessing this kind of unprecedented situation in the US. But what we know so far is that they are still trying to trying to fix this kind of a computer outage, this kind of a technical glitch that has caused a situation where all the flights across the United States have to be grounded, Priyanshi.
So, Tanushree, just for our clarity, as we've been mentioning and as you've been mentioning, that it's really unprecedented to see this kind of a technological error, of a technological glitch that could have caused all these flights to be grounded. But for our clarity, we know that close to 400 flights have been currently grounded in the United States, but there must be still some flights up in the air, but those that were set to take off haven't, because they've been grounded because this crucial system is not in place because of that technical glitch.
Absolutely. And Priyanshi, that is a major concern for the FFA, that even if all the flights have to be grounded, that can be a secondary concern. But the major concern and the primary concern for the FFA right now is to establish their contact with the pilots. As you rightly said, that some flights are still up in the air, some flights are taking their routes, and they have to be decided by the FFA. Now that has become a major concern as to how to establish contact. What we have been told is that about 400 flights are delayed, though the system is still partially working, but 400 flights have been delayed because it's a major computer outage or a major technical glitch which has now caused this situation. But really, let's hope for the best. But as of now, what the FFA is doing is they are continuously trying to give us updates, and also they are trying to fix the technical glitch which has caused such a situation. They have also come up with a hotline which has been now activated for all the passengers. But as you also rightly said, the major concern for FFA right now is the flights which are up in the air, because they have to land safely. All the passengers have to land safely. The pilots, the connection with the FFA, that is right now the major concern. What we are learning is that a contact has been established with the pilots of those flights which are up in the air, but still there is some technical glitch which is causing some kind of a barrier in that connection. So let's really hope for the best, and let's really hope that this situation doesn't go out of hand. But Priyanshi, what we are witnessing right now is absolutely unprecedented. Even the US is saying that we haven't seen this kind of a situation in the recent history, where a technical glitch within the system, a computer outage, which we do not know as of now that what is the cause behind that, has caused a situation like this.
All right, it's absolutely unprecedented. As Tanushree, you were mentioning that we haven't seen something like this ever before, that a technical glitch in the system in the United States has caused all the flights in the United States to be grounded. Close to 400 flights have been impacted, and they've been grounded, as we were just reporting. And the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, has been saying that they are on it and they're working to restore those systems. But the timeline is still not clear as to when these systems could be back. Now, the Los Angeles airport has also put out a tweet on this very issue, saying that the FAA is working on it, but this very system that's been affected is responsible for sending out flight hazards and real-time restrictions to pilots. Now, there you can see the tweet by the Los Angeles airport saying that the Federal Aviation Administration is working to resolve a national systems issue that is impacting flights early this morning. And please check your flight timings before and check for updates on FAA before you actually take that travel. They are saying that please check your flight status, and we will share updates as the FAA provides them. The last tweet from the FAA was that they are working to restore this system, and that was the tweet by FAA in which they said that they are still working on that system, but of course the timeline is not clear. They said that we're working to restore the notice to air mission system. We are performing final validation checks and reloading the systems now. Because of this, operations across the national airspace system in the United States are impacted, and the FAA, of course, saying that they will provide updates as soon as possible. Now, media in the United States, they're reporting that about 760 flights within, into and out of the United States were delayed as of around 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time this Wednesday morning, according to the online flight tracker FlightAware. Now, around 90 flights were listed as cancelled. So that just shows you the impact of this technical glitch in the United States airspace system that has caused around 760 flights to get delayed. These were 760 flights that were coming into, that were within or that were going out of the United States at around 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time in the United States. Now, this is according to the flight tracker FlightAware, and around 90 flights, according to this tracker, have been reported to be cancelled in the United States because of this technical glitch. Now, so that's the latest that we are getting now. Some media sources, of course, reporting that 700 flights have been delayed because of this. Now, for viewers who are just joining in, this is a crucial system that has had a technical glitch. It is a computer failure, and the Federal Aviation Administration is working on it. It's a computer failure that has affected the system that is used to send out flight hazards and that is used to communicate with the pilots. The FAA has issued a statement saying that we are experiencing an outage that is impacting our update of this system, this communication system, and all flights are unable to be released at this time. Now, American Airlines told ABC News that it is only meant to delays for flights for the moment. So as we just told you, that close to 700 flights have been delayed according to multiple news reports. Now, the FAA say that they will be issuing an update on the problem shortly, but they've said we are working to restore the system. We are performing the final validation checks and repopulating the system now, and operations across the national airspace system are affected. So flights across the United States have been grounded because of this, and it's really unprecedented, as we've never seen such a situation of a technical glitch leading to all flights in the United States being grounded. Remember, a few of the busiest airports that are what we have in the United States, and those flights have been grounded because of this technical glitch. And FAA says that we will provide frequent updates as we make progress, and about 700 flights within, into and out of the United States have been delayed because of this very technical glitch at around 6:30 a.m. Eastern time this morning. So the advisory for people in the United States, or people going to the United States or coming from there, the advisory is to check your flight timings and check whether those flights have been delayed or cancelled altogether because of this technical glitch, because as we just told you, that it is causing both flight delays and flight cancellations as well. All flights in the United States have been grounded, but of course that concern is that some flights must be in the air, and whether the communication system is working with them, whether the NOTAM system is working, the system that's been used to give out the updates to communicate with the pilots, and also the system that's been used for sending out flight hazards. So a concern is, what's not entirely clear as of now, is that those flights that are up in the air, how is the system working for those as of now? Because of course the other flights have been grounded, but the concern remains of the flights that had already taken off, and whether the FAA has been able to communicate with them. Of course, we'll get you more details as in when they come across in this developing story, but of course the breaking news is that it's an unprecedented technical glitch that has caused about 700 flights to be delayed across the United States. And there you can see the visual from the flight radar. These are live updates from Flight Radar 24, which shows you the current status of all flights that are currently in place across the United States, as you can see in that picture on your screen. And that of course is the concern, whether those flights that are currently being operated are being contacted with, or whether they have that crucial communication system in place. Now, my colleague Tanushree Pandey now joining us for more on this. Tanushree, we've been reporting how it's really unprecedented to see all of the flights across the United States being grounded because of a technical glitch. And now we know that close to 700 flights have been delayed and close to 90 have been cancelled. What's the latest that you can share with us?
Absolutely, Priyanshi. In fact, the very latest might come as a relief to the passengers in the US, that the flights from the US appear to have resumed after there was they have to be grounded due to computer outage. But we still do not have any official confirmation from the FAA. But I'll quickly tell you that what we know so far, as far as as far as the repercussion goes for that kind of a situation, we know that about 760 flights within, into and out of the United States were delayed as of around 6:30 a.m. on Wednesday. That is the time which is there in the United States as of now. And this is according to the online flight tracker, and around 90 flights were listed as cancelled. So more than 700 flights have been delayed. More than 90 flights have to be cancelled due to this unprecedented computer outage or a technical glitch in the system of the FAA. Even the FAA experts are trying to get to the root cause of it, as to what really triggered this kind of a computer outage. Because Priyanshi, this is absolutely unprecedented. This has not been seen or witnessed in the recent past, that a computer outage has caused this kind of a situation where the flights have to be grounded. And it's not just one or two flights. More than 760 flights have now been delayed. More than 90 flights have been grounded, have been cancelled. And the major concern remains to be those flights which are still up in the air. So the FAA right now is trying to first establish their connection with the pilots who are flying those flights which are up in the air. We have been told that the situation, they are trying to get the situation under control, and let's really hope for the best. But even the connection and the contact with the pilots have been partially made, but still there is the technical glitch is causing major hurdles in the way. And it's one of the most busiest air route, one of the most busiest routes, and where massive air traffic is being seen. And now the entire air traffic of the United States have been massively hit after the FAA has experienced this kind of a major computer outage. But Priyanshi, as of now, the FAA even has established a hotline which has now been activated for all the passengers, because imagine the situation for them. The passengers were not being told, they had no prior, any prior information about this kind of a technical glitch. Even the officials had about absolutely no idea that such a technical glitch is even possible within the system of the FAA. So right now the experts are trying to get to the root cause, that why did this happen, and all they are trying right now is to get the system back to normalcy. Priyanshi, back to you.
And Tanushree, to just understand what really is that glitch and what the system means for a flight, we have with us aviation expert Parvez Damania now joining us. Mr. Damania, we are being told, and what we know till now is that it's a computer failure and the affected system is responsible for sending out flight hazards. What can you tell us about the NOTAM system, the notice to air mission system that has been impacted? How crucial is it for a flight?
At this stage, nobody really knows the root cause. Nobody knows why this has happened and what is the reason, but this is an extremely shocking and completely unheard of situation. I'm told that the entire airspace is closed. This is, due to weather, sometimes certain areas have shut down, but an entire airspace closure, I don't think it has happened any time after 9/11. That is the only time the complete airspace was closed. So I find this completely shocking, and one will have to wait and watch, but this is going to cause unbelievable inconvenience and chaos at the airport, inconvenience to passengers and the airlines. So now we just have to wait and watch, because this has been going on for hours and hours, and nobody knows what is the real root cause and why this whole thing is happening. So I think we'll just have to wait and find out what is happening, but this kind of situation is completely unheard of in the past.
So, Mr. Damania, you're saying it's completely unprecedented. The FAA has not seen such a technical glitch ever in the history.
Correct. Absolutely correct.
All right. So that just, and we also told that close to 700 flights have been delayed. Now, Mr. Damania, what we were thinking, and I think what the concern is now, that though the flights that were yet to take off or that were yet to arrive, they've been grounded, but some flights must be up in the air already. So how are they being contacted?
So now only FAA will decide whether they should land at the nearest airport or continue to the destination. But they all have to land as soon as possible. So that's what I'm saying. No, it will be decided whether they will land at the nearest. Now, FAA only will be able to guide what will happen to the flights that are already in the air.
Right. So it's not clear
yet. We just have to wait and watch now, for now.
So just for understanding, Mr. Damania, if the notice to air mission system does not work for a flight that's currently on air, how does that impact us? Does that mean that the flight hazards cannot be sent out to these flights that are already up in the air? Or the pilots cannot
I don't know. I'm not technically qualified, but this is an unheard of situation. Only in the FAA in America will be able to clear the whole situation and let us know what is happening.
All right. We also have Mr. Amit Singh now joining us, who's also an aviation expert. Mr. Singh, as we were just discussing with Mr. Damania, that this is completely unprecedented. Do you agree that such a technical glitch has never been seen in the history of U.S. civil aviation?
Yeah, this NOTAM system is basically notices to airmen, which means before a flight, the pilots are briefed, the dispatchers, operations people are briefed by a system which collects the serviceability or unserviceability of nav aid, airport, runway, if there is any closure around America and across the world. It's linked also across the world. So flights, before departure, pilots are made aware of these issues. So now this system has broken down. Since it is all automated, they will have to revert to a manual system wherein they'll have to print out sheets of paper, maybe 30 or 40, with a whole lot of information about the availability or non-availability of navigation aids, instrument aids, runways, closures.
Right.
So this critical part has broken down. So it will recover slowly. They'll have a backup, I'm sure. That is the manual backup, hard copies going around. So
Mr.
that's the
Singh,
immediate effect is that flights cannot take off. But flights which are in air would have already got NOTAMs. So they would be able to land.
Right, and Mr. Singh, as you rightly mentioned, that flights cannot take off, and we know that hundreds of flights have been delayed and even cancelled because of this. But what about flights that are already up in the air? As we were just discussing, that this system is responsible for sending out flight hazards and real-time restrictions to the pilots as well. So for the flights that are already up in the air, how will they be sent these updates, or how will they be communicated properly if the system is not working?
I don't think the flights which are in the air would be affected that much, because before departure, basically the pilots download these NOTAMs
All right.
on their iPads or whatever systems they have on board. So on-board system with downloads, it is not a real-time transfer. So they download it on their systems, and then they can go through them while they're in flight, and before landing, they brief each other about whatever significant system is affected. So the arrival flights would not be affected. It's only the departures which are majorly affected.
All right, Mr. Singh, thanks very much for joining us. And it's very important what Mr. Singh just pointed out, that the flights that are currently in the air might not be impacted because of this, because the pilots before taking off already download these NOTAM systems on their flights before taking off. So that's very important for anybody to know who might have relatives or friends on those flights from the United States or towards the United States, that the flights that are currently in the air might not be impacted because of this system failure, because of this technical glitch. But of course, flights that were yet to take off, that were yet to come to the United States have been delayed. They have been grounded because the NOTAM system responsible for sending out flight hazards and restrictions to pilots is not currently working. The FAA is on it. The Federal Aviation Administration is working on it, but they've not clarified a timeline as to when it could be back up and running. But of course, we'll continue to get you the latest from that, and continue to get you the details of whatever the FAA says on the flights that are currently in the air and the flights that could be grounded. We'll get you the latest after this very short break. Stay tuned.
Hello there, you're watching NDTV. I'm Maha Siddiqui. The big story at the moment, a computer failure at the FAA has potential to impact flights nationwide, including a possible nationwide grounding. That's what ABC News has said. This affected system is responsible for sending out flight hazards and real-time restrictions to pilots known as NOTAM, or Notice to Air Missions. And because of the failure of this system is why all flights in the US at the moment are grounded. It was said that technicians are working on the problem, but no timeline for being able to overcome the problem and for systems to be back in place have been given at the moment. The FAA is experiencing an outage that is impacting the update of NOTAMs. All flights are unable to be released at this time, is what the FAA statement said. American Airlines told ABC News that it has only meant delays for their flights for the moment. The FAA said that they will be issuing an update on the problem shortly. The FAA is working to restore its Notice to Air Mission system, that's NOTAM. We are performing final validation checks and repopulating the system now. Operations across the national airspace system are affected. We will provide frequent updates as we make progress. Meanwhile, about 760 flights, and these are all reports coming in from the US, about 760 flights within, into and out of the US were delayed as of around 6:30 a.m. the US time Wednesday morning, according to online flight tracker Flight Aware. Around 90 flights were listed as cancelled. The FAA is still working to fully restore the Notice to Air Mission system following an outage. Let me go across to Tanushri Pandey for more details on this. Tanushri, how long now has this been, and are we getting any update on the possible timeline of the restoration?
Well, Maha, it's been more than 2 hours now that the computer outage in the FAA system has caused a situation where all the flights in the United States have to be grounded. Now, what we know so far is that the FAA is trying to, the major concern is to establish their contact with the flights which are, or with the pilots of the flights which are already up in the air. The NOTAM system, basically, which inform the pilots of any possible hazards when in their air route route is right now the major concerns. What we have been told is that the FAA has been successful in maintaining their contact with the pilots of the flights which are already up in the air. Those flights have not been impacted, but otherwise more than 700 flights as of now have been delayed. More than 90 flights have been cancelled. Now, as of now, what we know that a hotline has also been activated for all the passengers, their redressal, but the root cause of this problem, that what really caused this kind of a computer outage or a technical glitch, is still not very clear, because it's absolutely unprecedented. Last, when all the air traffic has to be closed happened during the 9/11 in the United States, where there was an unprecedented situation of a terrorist attack. But now, after so many years, we have a situation where the flights again have to be grounded because there was a technical glitch in the computer system of the FAA. They are trying to establish contact. They are trying to, get to the root cause of this problem. But as of now, things are not clear. What the priority of the system at the administration right now in the US is to get the system back to normalcy, because it has majorly impacted all the entire air traffic. And let's not forget, Maha, that US is one of those routes which witnesses one of the most busiest air traffic. So right now what we know so far is the FAA has also asked all the domestic airlines to halt their flights until further orders. So this is all the information we have right now. The root cause of the computer outage, of the technical glitch, is still unknown, but it has massively hit the air traffic. More than 700 flights have been delayed, more than 90 flights have been cancelled. But the good news is, Maha, that at least those flights which are already up in the air have not been impacted. They are still, the situation there is still very much under control. Let's really hope for the best.
All right, so flights are not being able to take off is what Tanushri is pointing out. So 700 flights have been impacted, 90 have been cancelled at the moment, and technicians are still working on the glitch. Tanushri Pandey, many thanks for joining us with those details. All right, let's move on now and going back to the big story that we're tracking from the US, where an outage of the system has resulted in aviation disruption. The Federal Aviation Administration has ordered a halt of all domestic flight departures after the system providing pilots with a pre-flight safety notice went offline. The FAA has said in its statement that technicians are on the job and that departures until 9 a.m. Eastern Time have actually been halted at the moment, and while they are trying to restore the NOTAM. The NOTAM is the system which gives a notice to air missions, which means that the pilot is given details of pre-flight safety notice through the system when they are taking off. So largely because this system is down, all the departures have been impacted, which has resulted in delay in 700 flights. 90 flights have already been cancelled. The flights in the air are in contact with the ATC. That system is functional. So those flights are being able to land. The problem is with any takeoff of flights, but that's a massive number as well. 700 flights impacted. Going back to Tanushri for more details. Tanushri, are we now getting a sense of whether the systems will be up in anytime soon now?
Everyone, Maha, is hoping for, but what that number of the flights which has been impacted for this kind of a computer outage has increased. What we know so far is that not more than 700, more than 1,200 flights across the United States have been impacted for this technical glitch which has happened in the system of the FAA. Now, it's been already more than 2 hours that this system, their entire system is down. The servers are already down, but as you rightly mentioned, that the flights which were already up on the air have still partially able to establish their connect with the system, but the flights which were about to take off have been completely grounded, and the number is more than 1,200 across the United States. In fact, the FAA right now has also asked the domestic airlines to halt their flights until further orders. In fact, a hotline has also been activated for the redressal of the passengers, because it's an absolutely chaotic situation at all the airports across the United States. The passengers had absolutely no clue of this kind of a situation might arise. And now that the flights have been cancelled, more than 90 flights have been cancelled, more than 1,200 flights have been grounded, have been delayed. In fact, the passengers are in panic, and they are right now being asked to stay put. They are right now being asked to stay calm, and the FAA is trying to basically get to the root cause of why this kind of a computer outage happened. Because let's remember, Maha, in the recent history, the United States have not seen this kind of a situation. Only during the 9/11, the entire air traffic was the air services were closed in the United States, and after that, now this is a situation where a technical glitch happened this morning in the system of the FAA, which caused a situation where all the flights have to be grounded, and especially those flights which were about to take off, the flights which were already up in the air. That was, of course, the first priority of the system, but the FAA was successful in establishing their connect with the pilots who were flying those flights. And now the major concern is to get those flights back on the schedule, which have now been grounded, and the number is huge. It's more than 1,200 flights across the United States. So let's really hope for the best, but this is an absolutely unprecedented situation. And apart from that, the experts and the technicians are right now trying to get to the root cause as to why this kind of a problem happened, because it's very important that this doesn't get repeated in the future. Maha, back to you.
Absolutely, Tanushri. So, as Tanushri is pointing out, the number of flights that have been impacted is increasing, as we are seeing that this technical glitch is still being worked upon, hasn't been overcome. But Tanushri, am I right in saying that only takeoffs have been impacted, departures have been impacted, not the flights in the air? Absolutely,
Maha. This is what we have been told by the officials, that the flights which were already up in the air have not been impacted. Those are very much safe, and the system was in fact successful in establishing their contact with the pilots of those flights which were already up in the air, and that was in fact the major concern. But the system was successful, and thankfully so. So yes, as you rightly mentioned, only those flights which were about to take off have been massively impacted, and the number is huge. That's about more than 1,200 flights, as we speak, and the number continues to increase. And also, the FAA right now has asked all the domestic airlines to halt their flights, so the number is likely to go up. But only those flights which were getting ready for departures have been impacted. Those flights have been grounded because the system the entire server completely, there was a technical glitch which stopped the entire server. The entire server was down, so the flights which were about to take off, the flights which were about to depart from all the airports across the United States have been grounded. Other than that, the flights which were already up in the air are very much safe. The spatial system is working and have been able to establish their contact with the pilots.
All right, we're getting an update now. US Press Secretary, in fact, to the media has put this out on Twitter rather, saying that the President has been briefed by the Secretary of Transportation this morning on the important point, considering that the first doubt or suspicion that would be raised under such circumstances is about a possible cyber attack. But as is being very clearly specified in this tweet, there is no evidence of a cyber attack at this point, but the President directed DOT to conduct a full investigation in the causes. The FAA will provide regular updates. In fact, the FAA updates are coming in, and as Tanushri was pointing out, the timely updates being given by the FAA suggest that at the moment, even domestic departures are halted till about 9 a.m. Eastern time. Those are the details that are coming in as far as this massive outage is concerned of the NOTAMs. Now, this is the system that actually gives the pilots a sense of the situation before they take off. So, takeoffs, that is departures, have been impacted. Captain S.S. Panisar is now joining us. Many thanks, sir, for speaking with NDTV. Help us understand how critical this NOTAMs, the system that we're talking about, is. And is this an unprecedented situation that we are witnessing right now? Because it's been over an hour and a half and the systems are not up.
Very sad thing, and it is only immediate reaction. Our intelligence agency, with all experts, have to wake up and keep a continuous vigil over this type of system. Whether somebody is hijacking your system like they did in AIMS and all, they hack the system. Now, because the terrorism all over the world, what is going on, we have our intelligence agencies and to keep a continuous vigil on these type of things. And I'm sure the Americans would like to trace out exact reasons for all these things. They have come out immediately. This is the only way to wake up our intelligence agencies immediately and keep a continuous vigil. We cannot take any chances for any serious mistakes in the future. This is my opinion.
All right, Captain S.S. Panisar, we are experiencing a slight audio problem there. We'll try and reconnect you, sir. In the meanwhile, let's quickly give our viewers a sense of what exactly has happened in the US. Now, a system which goes by the abbreviation of NOTAMs, which basically is a system that gives the pilots, when they are taking off before departure, a notification which tells them that it's safe to take the flight off now into the air. That system is experiencing rather an outage, which has resulted in over 1,000 flights at the moment being stranded in the US, not being able to take off. Though the flights in the air are operating, they can land because they are in that system is operational. They are in touch with the ATC. They can land. It's the problem exists with the departures, and therefore over 1,000 flights impacted in the US. All flights that were meant to take off were grounded. Domestic flights at the moment till about 9 a.m. Eastern time in America have been halted as well. The FAA has said that technicians are working on bringing back the system. All right, so this is the flight radar that is giving you a sense of the difference that we can see in this today, what is happening today. Because of that, the number of flights that are grounded, and the left-hand side is showing us what's happening right now, currently. The right-hand side showing you just a week ago as the air traffic would have looked at this particular point in time, that is the morning in America. So flights to the US airports have been grounded at the moment. These are flights that are to take off for departure because the NOTAM system is seeing an outage at the moment. About 1,000 flights, over 1,000 flights is what we are learning at the moment, have been impacted. 90 flights have in fact been cancelled because of the technical snag that is being witnessed at the moment. The system, the NOTAM system, is significant before a takeoff because it gives the pilot information about the situation, and it is only if the system is in place that the pilot can safely take off. This is a pre-departure, pre-flight safety notice system that has gone offline, resulting in all the flights meant for departure from the US stranded at the moment. An outage in the NOTAM system, that is a system that provides a pre-flight safety notices to pilots, having gone offline in the US, has meant that all domestic flight departures have been halted in the United States till about 9 a.m. Eastern time. That's the latest information that is coming in this big outage, technical glitch that US is facing at the moment, which has resulted in a major aviation glitch right now. Though a cyber attack has been for the moment ruled out because the press secretary in the US has pointed out in her tweet that the president has been notified of the situation. Though a cyber attack, there is no evidence to suggest that there was any cyber attack. However, the matter is still under investigation. These are pictures that are coming in from the airport in Washington, D.C. And what you can see on your television screens at the moment, people are waiting, considering that flights have been delayed, and there are a number of flights. The last count was about 760 flights that were delayed, 90 were cancelled, but that number has gone up now to about 1,000 flights that are seeing delays now because of this glitch. Remember, at the moment, the FAA statement has said, that is, the Flight Aviation Administration has said that all flights, domestic flights departures will be paused till 9 a.m. Eastern Time. These are pictures that are coming in from Texas, again, of flight departures that have been impacted there because of the NOTAMs going off air. This is the notice to air mission system that gives a notification or a pre-flight safety notice to the pilot, which is essential before any takeoff or departure, and since that has gone offline at the moment, all departures have been halted. In fact, the association representing U.S. Airlines for America, said that the outage is causing significant operational delays. So 760 flights impacted immediately, 90 cancelled. People are waiting at the airport because flights, now there'll be a huge backlog once the systems are restored. The technicians are working on the glitch, is what we were told initially when this outage was reported at around 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and now we are being told, in fact, as reports are coming in from the US, that all domestic flights have temporarily been delayed because of this outage of the NOTAMs, a system that gives pre-flight safety notices that has gone offline. All those flights that were mid-air, in the air, the systems for those flights is very much operational, so they have not been impacted in any way.